Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. We're here with Colleen from TERRA, and we've always talked in the past, we've talked about the wonderful bird feeders that we have and the seed and the different types of food. And now we are inviting other species.
Mother Nature in our backyard.
Right, this is the thing. We can't say, hey birds, it's just you guys. Now we're just like, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah,
but there are special homes and special food for all these different critters. So let's talk about some of the different environments we can create.
Obviously we basically expanded our birding department to be now feathers and friends. So it's not only our feathers, but it's all the other friends that we have in our backyard too. So we have some great new hummingbird feeders and oriole feeders, and they are what we call nectar feeders. So they feed off of, it's basically a sugar solution.
So like these guys, right?
Like, yep.
Like, look at that, that's pretty fancy.
There's some really amazing things that you can, like, just they look good too, right?
They do.
And so for the orioles as well as butterflies, they also feed on nectar, and we know that butterfly populations have been decreasing over the last few years. So hanging something like this, the nectar is in the bottom.
Right.
There's a built-in ant moat because ants also like to feed on the nectar. And then there's also little rings here that you can put sliced bananas in, or little slices of oranges.
Really?
Because both orioles and butterflies like to feed off fruit too.
Oh my goodness, you've got a whole little system going on here. So you've got this little cable of like a cord that's going to bring the feed up through here.
Yeah, it's like a wick, so the butterfly will sit on here and just kind of feed off the wick as if it were the pollen or the nectar in the flower.
That is neat. And an ant moat.
Yes.
One thing I don't like is ants, so I would not be collecting them or inviting them to my home. But
this keeps them out of the feed.
I get it. I understand the theory behind this, but that is actually very cool. I like that.
And we'll also have butterfly houses as well, so that they can have like a protected area.
You can see how much a kid would love this, and being able to investigate and get in, and that's pretty cool.
Just inviting all these things into your backyard is just so much fun. It's like ecology right at your fingertips.
Right. Okay, so what else?
So along with the butterflies, pollinators are very important to our gardens. Anything that you eat is pollinized. So hummingbirds, bees, butterflies, all of those kind of creatures will pollinate the things that we have in order to make more, in order to fruit. And
whereas we were saying, we are running into some issues, of course, with butterflies and bees and that cross-pollinating, all that type of thing. So we need to encourage it.
Yes, due to many different reasons. Populations have been declining, and so why not do everything that we can to promote the health of pollinators in our own backyard?
Sure, and you can imagine if everybody did take a step towards that, it would absolutely make a difference.
For sure. So not only through plants, because there's tons of plants that you can plant in your backyard to promote them, but you can also provide these different insect hotels. So
it's an insect hotel?
It's a hotel because it'll house more than one variety of insects. So a lot of them will do ladybugs, butterflies, the mason bees, any of those kind of pollinating insects.
Amazing.
So it works like on the whole very well.
This is quite an interesting little hotel they have to go into. And again, a child would love this, but really in the big scheme of things, it really does help out our entire ecosystem. So very neat. Okay.
And then if you go down onto the ground, something that also helps the earth as well as not the good insect population, we also have toad houses here. So toads are also fun for kids because they do lay their eggs in the water, but then once they emerge from the water, they do produce little nests, and this just gives them a little bit of protection.
Oh, so this is where they could go and do their thing. I love that. That's fantastic. Oh, I love toads and frogs when I was a kid. So
they're so much fun.
They're fun to go around and
especially in southern Ontario, like they just sing, and you know, you can have that kind of, you know, you can pick them up and touch them, wash your hands afterwards. But
exactly, always wash your hands. Now you actually live on a farm, so you give your children an opportunity to really get out there and investigate. And so many times now our kids don't have that opportunity anymore. You need to let them get out and play in the dirt and investigate through your backyard. Even if you're in a very urban setting, there are still opportunities for this to happen, and you're encouraging it by doing something.
And there's lots of these things that even if you have a balcony, like on a balcony you can still have hummingbirds, you can still have orioles, you can still have butterflies, you can still have squirrels.
Okay, so we have done an interview in the past where we were trying to get these squirrels, you know, they like to swing off bird feeders, and you see them do whatever they need to do to get to the bird feed. But now we're inviting them to our backyard, but we're going to give them their own little haven. So it's, maybe they will leave the birds alone. And the bird food alone.
We do still have like the squirrel-proof feeders that are basically weighted so that once the squirrel jumps on them, then it closes off the feed so that they can't eat it. but why not enjoy them? Squirrels are one of the first things that kids or adults see as part of the wildlife. They're so friendly. They're so amusing and entertaining too. They're awesome. So we have, these are squirrel feeders here that there's just in the shell peanuts. Yeah. And one of my friends said, well, how do they get in?
Yeah. They know.
They know, and they will lift up the lid and they will eat it. And given a food source away from your prize bird seed, they'll go to whatever's easiest. Not saying that they still won't go to your bird seed.
Right, they'll polish that off. And they'll go over. But at least we're giving them some distraction.
Exactly, and peanuts are a lot cheaper than the expensive bird seed, so why not?
Yeah, and then again, it's fun. As you say, it's fun to see them up there doing their thing, packing their cheeks, and right?
Yeah, and so you can feed them the whole peanuts. If you have the city squirrels that are a little lazy, you can feed them shelled peanuts as well.
City squirrels.
And this is one of them.
Biased to city squirrels?
No, I'm not.
Or to farm squirrels?
They're strapped for time, so they can't always have time.
Busy schedules.
So this is one of the newer feeders too. This can be used for seed, but I've just put some shelled peanuts in there too, so it's just kind of fun to see them pick it off. And squirrels also enjoy cobbed corn. So this is corn on the cob, dried, straight from the field, and then this is a chair for your squirrel to sit at while you put a cob of corn on the end, and you can actually watch it, and
so
he'll
you put
eat
the corn up here.
Yes. And he'll eat it all the way down.
Oh my goodness.
So you can just watch him.
There are squirrels coming from miles. They're gonna be like texting each other, get over to Colleen's place.
There are some things too that will both feed the squirrels and the birds, because blue jays also love peanuts. So we've shown this feeder before that you can put either the suet balls or the peanuts in it.
Now, one thing I wanted to add too is that you're inviting bats as well.
Yes.
And we have a bat house. Yeah,
we also have bat houses, and that's another thing. They're one of the only creatures that, they're mammals, nocturnal, so they only come at night, but they're one of the only creatures that will eat night insects. So they actually help, including mosquitoes. So they help, and they're not harmful. No. So they're kind of entertaining to sit on your...
eat your neck.
No.
These are nice bats.
Yes, they're good bats.
They're doing the thing. All right, anything else we want to show?
One of the new things that we have too, it's peanut butter for birds and squirrels. So it just comes in a little jar like this. We have a couple different varieties, and this one has sunflowers in it, obviously. So this one here is a suet based. This one is actually a peanut butter based. And then we have little feeders that they just slide into.
Oh, you just put it in there. Oh, that's handy.
And then you can hang it onto a tree or wherever, and then they'll just come up and feed off of it like that.
Options. Now I'm looking at this one little contraption just before we go here. You've got all kinds of interesting. It's like you created a little haven for birds to pick at. Is this what they do and they go create their nest?
That's true.
Oh,
so this, again, this is something that we've shown before. Anything that you've used for suet or suet balls or peanuts, you can also stuff through nesting material, which we have at work too. So like different pieces of hair, feathers, fur from your dog, brush your dog and stuff it in. And then they'll just come along and they'll pull it out and line their nest.
Colleen, the best. Good information. Get the critters to your garden. Why not?
Have some fun.
Give them their place. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Amy and we're at the Hamilton Tool Library and what a cool idea. So I'm reading about this, I'm thinking, this is the best thing ever. Explain the concept behind this business.
This is a library, just like a book library, where members can come and borrow our tools, take them home with them for up to 5 days.
So how does that work though? Because some tools are quite pricey, so it's not like a book where, you know, maybe like $25, but some of the value here is big. So how do you make sure someone comes back with that tool?
So all of our members pay a small membership fee as low as $40 for the whole year.
Okay.
They're part of our community here at the Tool Library, where they are part owner of the tools then. So there is a sense of ownership.
I see.
For some of the more valuable items, we do put a small deposit, but that's refundable once the tools return.
Makes sense.
And all of our tools have been collected by donation. So we have been lucky and fortunate to not have to pay for any of our tools.
That helps too, doesn't it?
To purchase them outright.
Right.
So we have a lot of very skilled people in our neighborhood who have generously donated their collections to us.
Now it's funny, we were talking about how some people's tools are a mess, right? They're all over the place. And, you know, or there are some people that have been in situations and they're looking at all these tools like, I don't use any of this stuff. I might use maybe measuring tape and maybe a hammer, but I have 5 drills, or, you know, so all it takes is somebody a few minutes to go through their stuff and they realize most of the things they have they don't use.
Yes. The average homeowner, their average drill is only engaged and in use for 10 minutes during its entire lifespan.
That's hard to manage.
So if you think about all of those tools that you buy for that one-time use, and then they just sit there and collect dust and take up space in your home.
Yes.
So we are constantly collecting tools. We are always looking for more tools to add to our library, to add to our collections.
Okay.
So people can very easily bring tools down to our tool library to donate them, and then come back and visit them when they need them.
And you know what, and that's actually probably the best idea. As you say, so many people are trying to declutter in their life as well, because it does weigh on you, even whether you know it or not. When you have a lot of clutter, or you have a garage that's full of tools, or a basement, get rid of them. If you don't, I mean, again, as you say, if you're barely using them, and you need a hammer to put up pictures in your house, and that's pretty much all you do, you don't need them. Come borrow them.
For that one time you need a fence post digger, or for the one time that you need a table saw, we have these tools available for people to come and take them home up to 5 days.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go through, you gave us an example of a few there, but let's go through some of the departments you have here and what's open to people to borrow.
We have 4 tool library collections that people can access. We have home and building tools, garden tools, kitchen tools, and bike tools, plus a repair station that people can use on site.
Oh,
we
that's awesome.
also have a makerspace, or a fully functioning workshop in our basement. So if you don't have a metal lathe at home, for example, you can come and use ours, and you can leave the mess here too.
That's a bonus. So you can obviously take these to your project if you're renovating your house or your basement or whatever it may be, or you can come here and do the small project here. So how does that work?
So again, for a small membership fee, members can come and access our makerspace during our open hours, unlimited access. And they also have access to all of our tools up in our tool libraries as well.
So at any point they can come upstairs, grab something,
and take it downstairs, or bring it home with them to finish up at home. Maybe they just need a thickness planer to access here in the shop, and then they can finish up their project at home with a drill and a miter saw.
Wow. So I guess you kind of have to know your tools, don't you?
And that's part of what we're doing here as well. So not only are we trying to get the tools into people's hands, but also the skills. So we're in the process of setting up workshops so that people can come and take some classes and learn the skills to use the tools.
That is a very good idea, because what happens is some people are just naturally inclined and are good at this stuff, but they start experimenting with things that may be outside of the realm of knowledge for them, and they just want to be brave and they don't want to ask for help. Sometimes guys don't want to ask for help, right? You know, because it's one of those things. Girls are more like, I have no idea what this even is or if it's upside down. But you know, a guy's like, I don't want to be, you know, asking. So this is a more comfortable environment for them to kind of slip in here and just get some tips.
Absolutely, and we have fantastic volunteers. This place runs on volunteer power, and we have some really skilled people that are able to help people troubleshoot their projects. It's a real community where they start to talk and share tips and troubleshoot each other's skills and projects that they're working on.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And it's good, you know, I think one thing with carpentry and with, you know, a lot of people will do this their entire lives, literally, and they can, and they'll scoot down to their basement and they'll work on stuff when they're in their 80s and 90s, which is awesome, right? So what a great place to come and be social and be able to do that as well. And also the experience and knowledge that some of these people have, and to be able to come in and have a cup of coffee and talk with the guys and the girls.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, lots of women are doing this stuff. My sister-in-law is awesome at all this, right? I keep thinking she should come in and volunteer with you. And you know, it really is. It's much more than just a tool library that way.
It is. We are building a community, and part of what we're doing here, we are a nonprofit organization, and part of what we're doing is trying to reach out and give back and build a better Hamilton.
Yes.
So through, for example, our ramp project, we recently completed a community ramp building project where volunteers, we had about 30 volunteers come in and build 12 ramps over the family day-long weekend. Awesome. And based on the success of that, we have orders for almost 150 more ramps.
Isn't that cool? And look at how something like this, and again, you know, some of these people are so well versed, they could throw these together in no time, right?
Exactly.
And how much of a difference it makes in someone's life.
Absolutely. So businesses that have just a single step are a barrier for anybody in a wheelchair, a scooter, a stroller to access their shop. Homeowners too can sign up for ramps through our form on our website, and volunteers as well. We're always looking for more volunteers to come help us out, and they can also sign up through the forms on our website.
You know, and some people just don't even know how they would ever access something like this for their houses. You said, you know, it's simple as just helping out a neighbor and being able to even put their name in the mix, right?
Absolutely.
And say, hey, you know what, this could be so helpful to
Absolutely. Them. All of these ramps are available at cost for the community, so the average price is about $25 for the materials.
Oh, wow.
And our volunteers are putting them together, painting them, and delivering them out into the community.
Wow. So again, it is much more than that right here.
Yes.
So tell me, do you have any stories what's like the strangest thing someone's asked for? Do you have any stories like that?
The strangest item, actually the most requested item, which you probably wouldn't expect, has been a drywall lift.
A drywall lift. No, I actually wouldn't expect that one. Right.
Yeah. So we had one generously donated to us very recently by one of our local businesses here in Hamilton.
Great.
And they fulfilled that need.
Yeah, I was going to say you could be that. You know they're going to walk in the door asking for that, and you now have
we have
one.
it. Yeah.
So anything particular just before we go that you are looking for that you need right now?
We always need more power tools, especially tools with working batteries. We need more pressure washers because springtime's coming up and everybody's going to get out there and wash up the deck. We need more tools in general.
Okay.
So anything and everything. We accept broken tools. We accept parts of tools and all of your nuts and bolts as well.
Nice talking to you, Amy. Good concept, and it's right here in Hamilton, and I love it. So it is called the Hamilton Tool Library. We'll be back with more Terra at Home after this.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning, welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra Restaurant in Hamilton. Love having you on our show.
Thank you.
Our resident chef here on Terra at Home. And you're making something really awesome for us today. I love it. I kind of just a mix of all kinds of seafood and meat together.
You know what? It's fantastic because there's so much protein in this, and then I mean, the only thing it really lacks is some vegetables.
I see you have a few peas
we have
there,
some peas and
so-
a little bit of diced tomato, but I don't know if that counts considering you have about 12 ounces to 14 ounces of protein here.
Right, and it's pronounced paella, right?
Paella.
It's spelled
P-A-E-L-L-A. That's right. And, you know, traditionally paella is made in a paella dish or a cataplana dish. You put everything in, you put all your ingredients, and then you put it straight in the oven and you just kind of let it bake, and it cooks all at once. Not everybody has that dish.
No, so to all of our Mexican friends, we're sorry, we're using that.
We're using a skillet. So I'm going to show you how you can make it at home with a skillet, okay? Now, the only thing about this dish, and the one thing that I would say is the drawback about making this dish, there's a lot of ingredients. There's a lot of parts here.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yep.
So we'll go through all the ingredients first, and then we'll kind of go through the steps on how to make it. So we have some chicken breast that's sliced, diced tomato, we have some green peas, we have some squid that's been cleaned, okay? We have mussels, we have saffron, this is a nice ingredient. We have some stock, we have our canola oil. I brought along, now this is something that probably you wouldn't find in paella normally, but I like a little spice, so I put out around our chipotle chili powder, okay? We have some shrimp, anchovy paste, chorizo. Now, chorizo comes in many different forms. This is a chorizo salami that I got.
I was going to say, because it's like, I'm not used to seeing it like that.
Yeah, normally it looks more like a sausage link.
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit larger. It's done a little bit. So all I did is I just cut it into kind of like mini pie shape.
And that is some serious good flavor in there.
There's a lot of smokiness to it, good flavor. There's some fat in there. And then we have a fish. And there's a lot of different fish that you can use. This one I brought is tilapia.
Okay.
Okay, and we have our red onion. So first thing we're going to do, we have our skillet on. And I'm going to heat up some oil. Then we're going to dice some onion. You can use red or white. I like using red as much as possible. It's a little sweeter.
I like red onion too. Sometimes I don't naturally think to use red onion to cook with sometimes. I use it a lot in raw form, but I don't think to go to it to cook with it as much.
You know what? It is more expensive than just your straight up white onion, so a lot of people tend to go to white onions first.
I see, okay.
I like cooking with it, like I said, because it's a little bit sweeter. All right, and we're going to just start sauteing those onions. Now, we have some rice, and you can use any rice you want. Traditionally, it's done with long grain, okay? I like basmati, so I brought along a basmati rice. Okay.
Now you have it sitting in water.
Yep. I like to soak it about 35 minutes before you cook it. Okay, it'll help cook. It speeds up the cooking time, rinses out some of the starch. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that straight into the pan.
So you're adding the water that it's been soaking in.
That's right.
Okay.
And I'm going to add a little bit of stock.
Okay.
There we go. Rinse that out. Now, this is where we're going to add our saffron. And you want to add the saffron in fairly early. Okay, and I'm not going to add too much, a few strands.
This is again one of those very potent little ingredients, isn't it?
It does. It has quite a bit of flavor.
It's expensive too, right?
It's very expensive. It's very expensive.
Goes a long way. Is good.
But it does go a long way. Gives a nice floral bouquet. So we're going to start cooking the rice with a little bit of stock. We're going to add some salt to that because you do want some salt in the cooking process. Okay. And like I said, I've already cut the chicken breast, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up the tilapia fillet.
So it is good when you say you have so many ingredients in a dish like this, have everything ready to go.
Have it ready.
You know, obviously we're showing how to prepare it right now, but if you have it all in little dishes all around you and ready to go, it's just going to be so much easier to assemble. So you're not looking for something, or especially with fish because it cooks so quickly, right? Right,
and it is just an assembly kind of dish.
Right.
You know, once all this is done and it's this is clean. These have been debearded. You've cut that shrimp or peeled. It is just a matter of putting it in and when do you put it in.
Right.
So we have some anchovy paste, which I don't know if I mentioned the first time around, but here it is.
No, we missed that part, but yes, there it is, right there.
So we're going to add some anchovy paste to this, and that's going to help flavor the dish as well.
Does paella normally have anchovy paste in it?
Sometimes I've seen it done with anchovy paste, and other times I've seen it without. So we're just going to mix that in, and we're going to let that cook for about a minute and a half on its own. Now the rice won't take that long.
Yep.
Especially if you use a parboiled rice or something like that. It takes a lot less time. So we're going to give it a little bit of time there. Then we're going to start adding in our ingredients, and you got to think about the cooking time.
Yes, that's what I'm
This
thinking.
is where you go.
What cooks, right? Chicken obviously.
Chicken takes the longest. Okay, so the chicken's going to go in fairly early. We can throw in the chorizo just because the chorizo's already done. It's a cured meat, so you don't have to worry too much about it. If anything, all it's going to do is soften up with the extra liquid from the rice. Okay. We're going to throw in the diced tomatoes fairly shortly. And again, that's just to add some acidity to the dish. So in goes chicken.
And if you've never had this before, it is such an interesting dish because of all the flavors in it. And again, as you say, because you have so many different varieties of protein, it's fun. Like chunks of chicken and chunks of fish, and you know,
it's a real one-pot meal that you know what will satisfy everybody at a table because there's so many different elements in it. And there goes in the chorizo. Now we're going to let this cook for about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay. Before we start adding in all the other stuff. So we're going to let that go. I am going to add the diced tomato now. You can add pepper. Now I'm not adding too much pepper because I am going to add this chipotle.
I was just going to say, so you're going to add that now.
Bite.
Okay. So chipotle chili powder.
Yes. Chipotle onion adds a smokiness. It's a nice smoky chili. It gives you a real nice flavor. But it does have a bite.
I could see why you'd want to add it to this dish, though. It just seems to work with, you know, all the components and flavors.
It really complements the chorizo.
The chorizo,
it really complements the chorizo.
Okay, so at this point, as you say, you're going to let it cook for a little bit. So this eventually we put into the oven for a little while?
No, we're going to do this one on the stove.
All on the stove straight?
We're going to do this one on the stove the whole way.
Very good. All right, easy enough. Okay, we'll be right back and we'll show you the final product.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
I am a truth seeker,
a storyteller,
a dedicated volunteer.
I am a caring neighbor,
a customer's best friend,
and a client advocate.
I am a survivor,
a social media junkie,
a proud father of 4 and problem solver.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am.
We are the Hamilton Spectator.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back with Chef Mark in the kitchen here, and look at our paella. It is coming along.
It's coming along.
It's coming to life. It's amazing how when you look at seafood, and especially shrimp, obviously, everything just starts, the colors really start to come to life.
Really vibrant. You can see that the saffron's really bleeding out a lot of color now. We added the peas. So what we did is we had the mussels about 5 minutes after we had put the chicken and the other stuff in. Then we added the tilapia fillet and then the shrimp and the calamari at the end because there's a bit of a golden rule with calamari or squid. 2 minutes or 2 hours. So you can't cook it longer than 2 minutes or else it gets really, really tough and chewy on you. So that goes in near the end, and the shrimp doesn't take long to cook either. So we're just going to give it a couple quick tosses.
I would have that all over my entire kitchen. I try to get a little fancy once in a while and do that like you.
There we go.
It really doesn't. I'm like, I have a spoon. I'm going to use that.
And there we go. And all I did is I took top of the lemon, cut a little garnish for it, and then whatever I cut off the top of from the one end, I just gave it a little squeeze just to add a little acidity there to the dish. And now we just plate it.
All right, so as you're putting that out, I just want to remind everybody at home again, this is one of our recipes you can find on our website at terragreenhouses.com. It's a long grocery list. Items you need to pick up, but in the end, if you do all your prep work properly and time it out, you're gonna have a very tasty dish.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's a lot in there. So that, I mean, you could see how much one pan you could feed a family of 4 easily with this.
Absolutely.
So. And there we go.
And it's great, just so many varieties, you know, having different types of proteins, as you mentioned, having the chicken, then all the different types of seafood.
Seafood and fish and peas.
So good.
It's all in there.
It is a yummy dish. And that's again, a one pot dish. Good to go, and you don't have to worry about anything else with that.
There we go.
Get it all dressed up and make it look nice. And da-da-da. Awesome. Thank you, Chef Mark. Always so wonderful. Can't wait to dig into that. Have yourself a great weekend.